know Cyclops from X-Men? When his powers first kicked in, he was like, shh, and then, you know, Xavier gave him the glasses, and now his is under control. He can control his superpowers. That is what our life is like. We have lived our lives completely out of control and disillusioned to the idea that somehow we are living within control. But we are just now coming into a space of controlling of self. And that is why it's so difficult, because we have actually never controlled ourselves. We have to experience in any particular emotion at any given time and actually choose how that emotion manifests. In the past, if we were angry, we were angry. And now we got to control our anger. We actually got to manifest our anger in a certain way that is productive for self and others. Patience. We got to figure out how to be patient when we are innately patient. Love is patient. It's the very first expression of love, but we got to somehow practice patience. Why do we have to practice something we innately are, except where we have never actually expressed patience? So for us to say that we are struggling with anything, we are struggling with nothing. We've never tried. The fact that I am 40 years old and I'm just now trying, I owe it to my legacy to figure it out, because guess what? When I figure it out, I teach it to my children. And when I teach it to my children, they teach it to their children. And now my grandchildren, 3 generations, my great-grandchildren will grow and come into this lifetime free. You want to know what's interesting? It's been a slow transition for me to move from, not touching people. As a substitute teacher, I go into these lower grades and they have an actual sign on the wall that has morning greetings, because these really cool teachers have created these whole systems when you come in, and now we got these secret handshakes and all this stuff. So intentionally, for those of us who don't do it naturally, they got a little poster on the wall, and so now these kids get to have these cool little handshakes with their teachers. So I'm sitting there like, my God, I have to touch these children. I have to touch them, or I'm being rude. So it's been a transition for me to move into a space of I'm not being rude. And the one transition that I have made that people just gonna have to get used to it, because I'm used to it, is I do not say bye when I get off the phone anymore. I don't say good morning, I don't say good night, but I don't say bye. So people are like, you just hung up on me. No, I didn't. I closed the conversation. Talk to you later. Have a good day. Okay. But I'm not saying bye. For whatever reason, my Shifu shared it with me back in January. It made sense to me in a way that it made sense, but I'm not in a space to explain it to you so that maybe you can contemplate, maybe not. It's just finality. He said his mother told him to never say bye because it's a way of saying bye. And just that simple explanation was enough for me to say that I don't ever want to say bye again. So I'm like, all right, hang up the phone. And this was doubled down on or confirmed for me, because when I used to watch K-dramas, they don't say bye, and they wait for the elder to hang up. So whenever they're having these conversations, they'll be like, yada, 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 and then click. Like, it's real abrupt over there. But the elder ends the phone call, and then the younger person hangs up, but they don't say bye. I don't know why. It's just something that I picked up. So when my Shifu said, his mother taught him not to say bye, I was like, okay, well, that's confirmation for what I've been paying attention to watching these K-dramas. So I just discontinued. So now moving into a space of I'm not having physical touch with people, especially moving into a place where I'm going to be doing meet and greets. How do I do that? Let's take a picture. You want to put your Just understand, if you are a fan of LoneeAppleton's, if you're a supporter of LoneeAppleton's, if you're a part of the community, don't try to touch me. I'm not going to be rude. I just don't touch people. And you should understand that, because you're a part of the community. If you're just somebody who doesn't truly know me, you're probably going to be like, and I tried to touch her and she shook me and said, no, don't put your hands on me. Well, you're just there because it's cool to be here. But those who know me and those who grow with me understand that from today forward, keep your hands to yourself. That's a sign of respect. All right, so now let's talk about mind control, because this is energy transfer, right? Because we're touching, so anything we touch. If I touch these right here, this is why I wear them on my body. These are my mala beads. These are my prayer beads. I wear them on my body so they're absorbing my energy. So anything that we touch, we transfer energy. So now we're thinking about bringing things into our home that were gifted from other people. We have to pay attention to this. People who are cooking for us when we're going to restaurants, this is why we pray over our food, because we don't know what energy has been transferred into our food. I don't pray before I eat, but baby, after today's conversation, I'm praying over everything, because I had a conversation with the Doi, who is a cook at a restaurant, and she's like, she is very much cognizantly aware that she's transferring her energy as she prepares these meals. So she's making sure that she's in a loving, high vibrational space while she's at work. When I was doing my art, I understood that as I was creating these pieces, I was praying to my higher self, as well as drawing on the energy of my mother and ancestors, but praying to their ancestors, because usually I was making a memorial piece. Give me what you want me to infuse into this piece. That's why whenever my art reached their destination, I don't want it if it didn't have no tears. No tears, I wasn't happy, because I was going for that intense energetic connection, because I knew I was infusing my energy into these pieces. That's just another piece of the piece to understand that touch is real, and we got to pay attention to who we touch and who we allow to touch us, who we take things from, and food, all of that. We have to pay attention to that if we are being cognizant and protective of our energy. But the reason why I hopped on this now, because I was just like siphoning our energy, but I was like, that's mind control. When someone is looking at you and tracking you, eyes are the gateway to the soul. You now have someone and you have control of them. So now we think about shaking hands as a sign of respect. Making eye contact is a sign of respect. It is. But why is it? If it was socially acceptable to look off to the side, and now we think historically, Blacks were not allowed to look whites in the eye. We had to divert our eyes. We weren't allowed to make eye contact. But at some point in history, we were demanded to make eye contact. It's a sign of respect. We went from being disrespectful from looking you in your eye to now being disrespectful for not looking you in your eye. What happened? If the eyes are the gateway to the soul, and I know I got you because you're watching me. When I'm working a room, and I see people tracking me with their eyes, I make sure I engage with those people, because I got them. I can actually speak to them. I can start working on them and doing what they came into this room for. We could get that popping because I know that I got you. So now we need to start paying attention to not only what we come into physical contact with, make sure that we are praying and clearing our energy when we come back into our homes, but also we need to pay attention to who we make eye contact with, what they're saying to us. First, make sure what we're allowing to come into our ear space, but this is why intuition and discernment are key. Develop. Align. Because I can go into the devil's lair and come out unscathed because I went in to get what I needed. And understand the devil's lair is anytime I leave my sanctuary. This is my sanctuary. So when I go out into the world, I'm going into the devil's lair. Ain't no telling. And the beautiful, unbeautiful thing about TVs and phones, we in the devil's lair all the freaking time. And we have to have that spirit of discernment, that intuition to know when to get up out of there. And if we are in there, what we pulling out. Discernment, what we pulling out. Intuition is time to go. Two different things, both need to be developed. But my point is, why is it a sign of respect? Why is it demanded? And understanding when I touch you, I'm giving you access to my energy, and I know how powerful my melanated energy is. When I look you in the eye, I'm giving you access to my soul, and I know how powerful this melanated soul is. So why am I granting you that access? Because I'm being respectful, or I'm being manipulated? What y'all think? So while our parents had imagery of progression and they fought for it, the unification, the black fist, that's the generations that we come from. That's not the generation we presently exist. The brainwashing that we have is not the brainwashing that they have. And what they had to go through, we shall overcome someday. day. We don't sing nothing about overcoming. We don't talk about no self-destruction. So stop comparing yourself from a generation who literally had to fight to give you the right to take your life for granted, who had to fight for the right for you to struggle with learning how to stop sitting in self-doubt. They didn't have time to sit in self-pity. They had to survive. They had to survive so that you could be here to take life for granted. So stop playing with your legacy. Stop playing with the sacrifices that the people before you made in order for you to be here and be so freaking comfortable that you will not continue the fight. Willie Lynch. If I get him here, I ain't even gotta keep him here no more. I can let him out the shackles, but I'ma always have him here until you choose different. Do you understand? It's on you to change the trajectory of your family line.